Play that funky music. Hello. Play that funky music, white boy. So many notifications you get when you go live. Unreal. But hello. How are we doing? Evening. Chuck us a comment. That way. That where it is. That way. Just let me know who's here. Who you are away from. We're just a little bit early. We always are. Just like to make sure that you can hear me, see me, and there's people here. So let us know who's here, and we'll get cracking shortly. Good to be back. Good to be back, guys. Yeah, welcome to winter. Whoa. I think today was definitely the first day where I felt the cold, and wow, it was cold. Nipped outside to Uber my car and that. Yeah, no more. That was just cold. Hello, beautifuls. It looks like my two daughters are here watching as well. Lexi and Lacey. Lacey is on my phone. Oh, so yeah, they're both watching on separate phones. My two daughters, Lexi and Lacey. Good evening, Steve, all the way from Donny. Well, did you see the football this weekend? Not great, I'll be honest. Heard a lot from the Donny fans giving it all that, but couldn't break the deadlock. Could not break the deadlock. And I don't really watch football, to be fair, but I saw that and I was quite amused. So, yeah, man. But by popular demand, I do get quite a few messages, to be fair. Whether it be throughout the week, whether it be, I don't know, someone's bus, someone need my advice, just anything like that. I'm probably more available than most YouTubers and stuff like that. Yeah, I just make myself available. I'm not one of these people that you can't be talked to. Oh, you can't talk to him, whatever. No, I am a technician at the end of the day, so I'm very available. It's all good. I like talking to people, so that's how it is. Love you too, sweetheart. There'll be a few more people join as we go on. This is usually the way forward. I don't know when YouTube sends out the notifications to sort of let people know what's going on. I know I get one when I go live, so that's about it, really. So yeah, if you're here, live and kicking, let us know how you getting on, what the weather is doing to you. Has the weather stopped you doing anything? Like if you're into your car washing, has it hindered that? Let us know. We'll answer your questions. I love answering questions. It is a car-related thing, but I'm all for the banter as well. So fire away. For those who haven't ever been before or joined in before, I do mechanical work and I also do detailing on the channel. You'll see. Also like to involve my my three kids as well. They love what I do, and they love getting involved as well. Lexi, who's somewhere on there, she does a lot of the filming. So fantastic camera girl. She's learning very, very fast as well, and doing her own stuff by taking pictures and bits and bobs like that from great angles. So she does a fantastic job. Lacey, the youngest one, she entertains Jack while we get some filming done. And it works like that. I can't be with the girls at the minute due to this COVID shite. It's all good fun. But one day it'll be better than the shower of shit that it is now. So YouTube might give me an ass kicking for that, but it is. I'm not gonna lie. It's terrible. You're welcome, Steve, for the little video. Like I say to anyone really, like that, if you want me to do a little video showing you something, it's content for me, it's entertaining for me, and it's helping one of you guys out. So I'm all for it. I haven't done a video this weekend for the channel, purely based on the weather being shite. It hasn't made its mind up what it wants to do. And Darren at the Detailing by the Area Housewife earlier, he came on live on Instagram while it was raining because he wanted to get out of the rain, basically. So he sat in his car. He was in the middle of filming YouTube stuff, and it went horribly wrong, and he ended up sitting in the car through the rain. So Darren at Detailing by Area Housewife, go and watch his channel. It's he knows his stuff. He knows his stuff, and me and him talk quite a bit outside of the YouTube world and all that. So he does know his stuff. So if any of you guys out there have got any car related questions, I hope like that, just throw it at me. Throw it at me. Even if you're from Donny and Donny's your home team and they didn't do very well against Lincoln at the weekend, so be it. Chuck it at me. It's all good. Like I say, people will come in and out of the group like they do. So that's not a problem. Not a problem. Jump in, fire us your questions. Jump back out if you want, if I've answered what you need. Happy days. Hopefully this light's doing all right as well. I've lost the line. There was a line last time I did a live, straight across my face. Don't know what that was about, but hey ho, it's gone now. So yeah. And one of the girls, what girls on what phone, on what name? Lex, you on the iPad? Gone quiet. So guys, Lexi is Adam. Now I know who you are, and Lacey is Sophie. Right, that's fine. So guys, what you got? Car related questions. I'm out doing reviews all the time. Darren at the Area Housewife, he's out doing reviews all the time. We do talk about loads of different products and bits and bobs like that. We will actually eventually get a meeting sorted to do this collaboration that we're planning. So yeah, that should be good. We'll see what that's about when it does eventually happen. Due to time constraints, weather constraints, and general distance, it'll get there. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. So I'm just making sure everything is live and working. You can see me and all that. We'll get some car related shenanigans on the go. So, there we go. Chris Neal, good evening. Did you used to work for VW? Got an Audi S4 2010 timing chains, a little noisy when starting up. Till oil pressure builds up, is a little noisy for about 10 seconds. So go dead silent. Should I be worried? It depends. Now, a little noisy, and then it's obviously going to progressively get worse. The idea behind the tensioner on the timing changes, the oil pressure fed anyway, so there shouldn't be full tension straight off the bat. Purely based on there's no oil pressure. It shouldn't be too loud, but you'll hear it to start up with, and it should disappear straight away. And that should only really happen when the car's been sat for a while and all the oil pressure's dropped and it's gone back down to the sump. It sounds like, when it's really bad, it sounds like a bag of spanners being jangled. That's how you know you've got problems, and subconsciously you'll grit your teeth and you'll pull a weird face when it does it. That's how you know that it's about ready to shit itself. I wouldn't jump straight to changing the chain unless it is horrendous. I'd have to obviously hear it and to make a proper assessment. It's really hard because you shouldn't really hear much noise, like I say. So it just needs to take that chain slack up with the pressure, and that's it. So yeah, if you want to send me a sound file or something like that through Facebook or Instagram, anything like that, do that. I can have a proper listen and obviously guide you a little bit more from there as to whether that's a normal sound or horrendous. So yeah, if you want to do that, buddy, if I put, that's the Facebook site. Should you want to message me on there, buddy, I'm always on there, so I will see exactly what you send. So yeah, if you want any further on that, matey, just give us a holler. Steve, is it worth changing to winter tyres on my Octavia? No. Never. Not worth it ever. In my opinion, mate, we're not cold enough. Not cold enough for winter tyres at all. Unless you're in the mountains or up in Scotland, there's no horrendous need for them just as a normal tyre. Because obviously if you're not using them in the weather they're intended to, they're going to wear down a lot faster anyway. The noise is horrific from them. Yeah, they are grippy. Don't get me wrong, they are grippy. But in my opinion, I don't think our climate at this moment in time, unless it gets stupid, warrants winter tyres. I worked on a car the other day, and it was a front wheel drive, and for some reason it had winter tyres on the rear, and then it had normal everyday tyres, normal summer tyres on the front. So I'm not quite sure what they were trying to achieve there, whether they go drifting everywhere in the front wheel drive car, manual. But yeah, I said to the customer, I would probably flip them over and have the winter tyres at the front, summer tyres at the rear, but they didn't want any of it, so that's it. But yeah, not cold enough, mate. Not cold enough. Good evening, Mike. You all right? Nice to see you here, buddy. Mike is the technical guru that makes sure that everything is running sweet as a nut. So I'll tip my hat if I had one. I'll tip my hat to you. I haven't actually got one nearby either. To helping me get it sorted. Yeah, make it work. It's all good. What was it like working for VW, Chris Neal? That's a belter of a question, isn't it? What do you want to know, mate? What do you want to know? There's so many areas you can go down, so many avenues. So yeah, what do you want to know? Let us know. No problem, Steve. No problem, Steve. A decent summer tyre or you can get all-weather tyres. The Michelin Cross Climates are quite good, to be fair. They're a good all-round tyre. If you want decent grip, you are going to have to spend a few quid more. And that's not, I don't work for Pirelli, Continental, Dunlop, anything like that. I think Dunlop tyres are shite. Continental, they've got weak sidewalls. Michelin aren't that much better for weak sidewalls. So you want a decent tyre with good sort of wet grip. Uniroyal do a fantastic wet grip tyre that works a treat on the Octavias. Not too noisy either. It's the Uniroyal Sport 3 or 4s, I think we're on now. They're a fantastic all-round tyre. Great in the wet, like I say. Not too noisy, so might be worth having a look at them. Some of the figures on these cheaper tyres aren't that bad. I've got my Octavias running Falcon tyres. People may laugh at me for Falcon tyres and may say, oh, they're cheap, they're shit. They're not, actually. They're really, really good. They're quiet as a mouse down the road. They're grippy. They do what I need to do, and they don't wear. They really don't wear. I'm still going on them now, and I've done how many thousand miles? 11,000 miles on the rears. Barely moved, man. Barely moved. So, yeah. Darren is in the room. I was just talking about you, Darren, to be fair. I was just talking about your little escapade earlier, being in the out doing a review and then ended up inside your car because it pissed it down. Yeah, I was just on about that. So, Chris, currently work as a quick fit as a service technician, level 3 qualified, but thinking about going to a main dealer. I was wondering what the day-to-day jobs are like. Well, if you want to stay at service tech level, so level 3, which is what filter spinning in the main dealer world, it means you're qualified, obviously. If you want to stay as a service tech, you will be doing just service work, tyres, brakes, maintenance items like 4-wheel drive services, gearbox services, cam belts, clutches. They're your run-of-the-mill service tech stuff at a dealership. You might have to dabble in the odd sort of diag, but by diag I mean 12-volt socket not working, wipers not working, why are my brakes squeaking, and they're probably metal to metal and they have been for a while, that kind of thing. But whereabouts in the world are you currently, Chris? Because everywhere's looking at the minute. Darren's put, avoid the Chinese knockoff tyres. They were on his Fiesta and they were awful in the rain. Well, Darren's put out on his Instagram and his YouTube channel as well that he was in a bit of a car accident through no fault of his own. No fault of his own at all. And he was in his Fiesta, it was ST, and they're a very nice car, to be fair, very nice car. And that car effectively saved his life. Now, to put it into perspective, whatever tyres he had on it, whatever brakes he had on it, whatever suspension he set up he had on it, saved his life. So when you're making the decision, should I buy these cheap shit tyres? Should I put eBay springs on it? Think, will that save my life if some knobhead decides to cut me up on the motorway or drive like an arse and send me into a ditch? You know what I mean? This car is literally the bubble around you. It's a matter of life and death. So for the people out there that have experienced accidents and are thanking the car massively, just have a quiet think of why you're still here and how you're still here, because the tyres are the last contact to the road. Brakes are very close. Suspension against keeping you on the road. So do you know what I mean? It's not worth it for the couple of quid extra it's going to cost you. Can't put a price on life, guys. Cannot put a price on life. Mr. Barrington's also in there with a second in on the Falcons. I put him in touch with the Falcons because I think he was due some tyres because his were knackered. Not because they were worn out, they just perished because they lasted that long. Whatever tyres he was on, they perished. So I put him, said to him, look, Falcons are a great tyre. I don't really think he'd heard of them at the time. But he's got Falcons on his car now. Loving life, like I say, nice and quiet, nice and grippy, and they wear really, really well. So again, yeah, they are. I think they're Japanese or Korean. I think either way, great tyre. They do the job. They keep you safe. I've got no issues putting my wife and kids in my car with Falcon tyres on it because I know they'll be fine. They'll be absolutely fine. Steve, I've got Michelin's on mine at the moment. The edges and the rear starting to crack. Michelin's are very, very shite for that. So a Hankook. They go right on the edge of the tread and sort of work its way around into the sidewall. So, yeah, Michelin's, what else? Oh, Dunlop sidewalls are shite for that. They just end up with big splits down them. I don't know if that's down to the roads are on, the driving style, whatever, but it's just the experience that I've seen in the workshop. So, yeah, I'm all for Falcon tyres. I do like Falcon tyres. Chris, you're in West Yorkshire. Fair enough. There's plenty of decent dealerships in West Yorkshire. If you're anywhere near Donny, fantastic Volkswagen, Skoda dealerships. It doesn't have to be the German brands. It could be absolutely anything. But they're all crying out for technicians at the minute. The wages aren't horrendous. Now, I don't know if this is the same across the country, but most places are sort of addressing the shite wages. If any of you have been technicians, know that the pay is pretty crap, and a lot of people have gone, I don't want this. I've got to buy my own tools. I've got to wreck my body. It's not the life for me, kind of thing. I've jumped ship and gone elsewhere doing other things. So it's given the dealerships something to think about and go, maybe I should look at this pay scale because it's pretty crap. So they have. My area of the country anyway, which is East Midlands, they've definitely looked into that situation and addressed it. So it might be worth just having a chat, even if you're not gonna or not ready to jump. Just have that chat. It's going to answer a load of questions. There's no obligation. You ain't got to join them. Have a chat with their service manager. They'll answer all your questions, and you can make an informed decision of, yeah, it's for you, or that ain't for me. I'll stick with what I'm doing. But dealership training is fantastic, and it really, really is. Dealership training is second to none, man. You go to their training centres, wherever they might be in the world. Volkswagen's is Milton Keynes. Jaguar Land Rovers is up in Leamington Spa. So you go all over the country, you meet loads of new people. It's fantastic. There's very few things to not like. Warranty's a bit shit, but he's everywhere. He's everywhere. It's a right pain in the ass. So hopefully that's helped. Any questions, buddy? I'm here to answer them. Not a problem. Darren's put, by the time my crash came, I had good tyres on. The rain, I had to abandon. Oh yeah. So in his accident, he had good tyres on. He'd done his bit. He knows his car was safe. It was MOT'd, everything like that. One thing led to another. Some dickhead chucked him off the road and he ended up in a central reservation. He'd done everything he can to avoid the accident, and the only reason he's here now is because of the maintenance on his car. And a fantastic ceramic coating, by the way. Let me just put that out there. You can have that one. Bloody rain. He had to abandon the full detail on the Ant's car. Just finished clean. Ended up detailing with detail spray, wet sealant. Hey, buddy, you find your way around it. So there's a lot of big detailers out there who will say it's not how you approach it. It's how you get it done. So best of a bad situation. And it also means you ain't got to dry the car. If it's pissing it down with rain, get the sealant on, blast it off, done. No white marks. Rock and roll. And he also uses Avons. Avons are not for me, but each of their own. Avons are very much like Uniroyal in the tread wear and tread pattern. Jez, evening, buddy. Nice to see you here, mate. Nice to see you here. Mike's chucked in his previous were Bridgestones, and thanks, Princess. The wife, if she wants to wave. Can't see her. Bag of Chris. There you go. There's a good lady wife. Bridgestones, yeah, like I say, Bridgestones, they do last forever, but they crack really bad and they go all green and mouldy and weird. So maybe they should bring the 10-year tyre thing into passenger cars as well, not just leave it at buses and minibuses and whatever. Steve, what about Kumos? Yeah, Kumos are a good tyre. Skoda use them quite a bit, Kumos from factory. They don't last as long as Falcons, but they're not a bad tyre. They're quite loud down the road, Kumos. And if you're going to put them on some four-wheel drive, I'd probably think again, because the Volkswagen four-wheel drive system is pretty temperamental. As with the Skoda, Audi, it's the same gear across the board. They're quite temperamental, and they don't like Kumo tyres or anything sort of lower mid-range kind of thing. Oh, Chris, do you know what, mate? I can tell you all day long. Life in a dealership, actually working in a dealership, from what you actually hear from other people outside of a dealership, is like night and day. It really, really is. A lot of people will slate dealerships massively, but it's only them people that haven't worked in a dealership that will slate them. Don't know why. Have a go. Have a go. I work with someone that's come from Quick Fit, and he was there Quick Fit for quite a while. He's had a bash at the main dealer life. No brainer for him. He loves it. Absolutely loves it. It's very busy. It's very, very busy. You also don't have the issues of having absolutely anything rock up. You know you're going to pretty much be working on whatever brand you're working for. So you're going to have the specific tools to that brand. You're going to have specific data for that brand. And then as you work through your jobs on a daily basis, you're going to start picking bits up. You're going to go, right, I know what socket I need to get out. Before we even looked at the car, you've got a 32mm socket out for a Volkswagen oil filter. Do you know what I mean? You're going to have these tools, and you're not going to need the broad crap you need for working on everything. You ain't got to worry that you've got a 100-year-old Volvo rocking up for brake pipes. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. It's fun to work. It's fun to work. They do little bonus schemes and things and like that. Every dealership's different, so don't take what I say as gospel, because they do run everything massively different. But give it a whirl. At least have a chat. If you're thinking of a potential dealership where you live, have a chat with a mate. They'll be more than happy to do it. Darren, Avon's definitely wear quick and sometimes not very evenly. My old boss used them on his Williams Clios he raced that stuck to the road like shit on a shovel. The way I see it, matey, is Avons. They're a bit like the Toyo Proxies. The warmer you get them, the better they perform. But for a general road tyre, particularly on British roads, where you ain't going to get fast enough to get hot because you'll be at a pothole or traffic light or temporary traffic lights or some form of fucking roadworks. They're everywhere. If you're from the UK, guys, you'll understand massively that everywhere is temporary traffic lights, big fucking holes, or some idiots crashed. Through no fault of their own sometimes, but particularly around where I'm from, it's some idiots crashed. And it is just because they drive like idiots. But that's not saying everyone drives like idiots. That's not saying accidents don't happen, because they do. I'm just broadening it for idiots around our way that just drive like idiots. Simple as that. So it's all about the tyres, guys. That is your last contact with the road. So if you want to put £2.50 tyres on, you're going to get £2.50 worth of safety. And that's definitely not me saying go out and buy Pirellis all around, because that's definitely not the way. They are well expensive Pirelli tyres, Continental tyres, Bridgestone tyres, anything along the top range. If you can afford it, go for it. Why not? The amount you pay for a tyre reflects on how much research and development the company that makes a tyre have done. So it's worth it. It's worth it. So many temporary traffic. There is, sweetheart. So many temporary traffic lights. And yeah, like putting the car upside down in the central reservation. I'm so pleased you can have banter about that now, Darren. I really am. For me, for myself, when I found out, obviously, you'd had a little altercation with the central reservation, I wasn't in the slightest bit amused, or I was probably panicked more than out, mate. I know we've only known each other 5 minutes, but fuck me, I've never been so panicked in my life, mate. Short of coming down to where you were, that could have been a thing. So I'm glad you're here talking, mate. And looking for a brighter future and all that. Maybe you should get sent in a Skoda or a Volkswagen. I can see you in a cheeky Fabia Mark II VRS 1.4 twin charge. Take that. How that? Run with it. So some lovely questions firing in, guys. I'm going to try and answer them all as best as I can. So the best ones for me are obviously the mechanical side of things. If you've got anything just stored away in your brain you really want to ask, don't know how to word it, just say it. Just say it. Really just come out of it. There's things I've seen, things I've done on cars. Nothing. There's no such thing as a stupid question here. There really isn't. So if you are holding back something, don't just fire it out. I'll be more than happy to help. I do see some hilarious things on a daily basis. What have we heard? I do like a good fault. I can't think now. I put myself on the spot. Where the hell? I have put myself on the spot. There's some crazy things that come through. And you're reading it on a job card, thinking, no. Oh, I've remembered one. Customer complaint of wipers operating themselves when it rains. Check and advise. Oh, the best bit is the check and advise. The check and advise. Wow. Something else that is check and advise. So I've got to check and advise why the wipers are turning on their own when it rains. Now, for you guys out there that don't know, a lot of cars have rain and light sensors. Designed to help you out, really. But yeah, so many of them we get. And for technophobes out there, I totally understand. Some things on cars go right over your head. There's a lot of stuff on there that's designed to help you out. Sometimes that stuff will terrify you, and it really will. Like the lane assist. The first time I drove a car with lane assist, I thought I was going to die. It was pulling me into the middle of the road, and I was like, no, I'm not having this. Don't want it. Anyway, that's what it's designed to do. So the more I learn about it, the easier it sort of becomes. My job is to make you guys out there aware what it is, what it does, what you should expect, rather than thinking the car's trying to kill you. Because we're not at that stage yet where the car's completely autonomous. But it's coming. It's definitely coming. Darren, it is awful, mate. You can only make a joke of it, buddy, because you're still here detailing cars in the rain. Pretty much it. What's the worst thing / mistake you've ever done? Are we talking dealership, Chris? Because oh man, oh god, you have a riot with some things are inevitable. Some things are inevitable, and I've got a few. So if you mean in the dealership, buddy, we'll do it. Darren, what causes the turbo sometimes sound tappy? Sometimes hot engine, sometimes cold engine. We usually after the engine's been off. There could be. What engine's it on, buddy? I've seen this a lot on the PSA engines. So the 1.6, 1.4 and 2 litre Peugeot, Citroen, Ford now use it all. I've seen that before where the oil strainer gets blocked in the sump. It's only partially blocked and the tappy turbo comes from oil starvation. and you're only going to get that tappy turbo for a certain amount of time before that tappy turbo shits itself and leaves your exhaust at a quick speed. So, what engine you on, buddy? Let us know. Stop, Steve. I don't know. I think it's crap in diesels, but it's really good in petrols. Because a diesel sounds like you're literally yanking the engine out every time you start it. A petrol's just seamless. So yeah, I'm on the fence on that one. And it's even worse for DSG automatics. If you put it in gear and then your engine starts trying to change gear and pull off at the same time, it does not like it. It does not like it at all. And yeah, it's interesting when you're getting done by a 1 litre micro at the traffic lights because your car don't know what it needs to be doing. So I agree and disagree, but each to their own, buddy. Some people like it, some people hate it. But it's the way of the world. Unfortunately, the government have got their hands on taxing stuff and bits and bobs like that, and the manufacturers, to get around that, have put in things like start, stop, petrol particulate filters, bits and bobs like that. It's all coming. Chris, anything to do with cars? Right, okay, got you. Yeah. Let me think of the best one. Get the best one. Yeti, 4-wheel drive Yeti. I was doing an EGR valve on that, and if any of you don't know where EGR valves are on Volkswagen stuff, on the older stuff, it's on the back of the engine. It's like a cooler as well, and on these it sits just below the turbo, just above the drive shaft, and there's a 4-wheel drive transfer case in the middle. So you've got to take the 4-wheel drive off to get the turbo pipe out of the way, to get the EGR out of the way. Anyway, long story short, I didn't want to take the transfer box off. And there's probably a gap between the blocks, and the block's about here, and the transfer case about here. And you've got to try and get this bolt out of the block, which is the oil return pipe. And I thought, fuck, I've got this. So anyway, I wound the bolt out, absolutely fine, mint. While doing the repair, I've somehow managed to twist the connection on the pipe, the turbo oil return pipe, managed to twist the little eyelet so the banjo bolt goes in like that, and I've twisted the eyelet just a touch. It's coming, and I managed to get around it. Oh yeah, this is mint, brilliant. I've done a 7-hour job in like 2 hours, cracking ace. Anyway, comes to put it all back together, get everything all done, come to put this banjo bolt back in, and I thought, sweet, line it up, and I'm in there, spanner, a little bit of a turn at a time, because that's all you can get in there. I thought, this is going too easy, this. So something's not right here, something's going too easy. Anyway, I carried on winding it in, got a bit tight, and I thought, no, you're not all the way in yet, because the bolt's got a good bit of thread on it. Anyway, wasn't all the way in. Carried on going. Anyway, it got tight, and I thought, yes, last little nip, and it went loose again. I'm thinking, fucking hell, what's going on here? Have I ripped the head off the bolt? Anyway, with me mentioning that I'd bent the little eyelet a little bit, anyway, I'd gone into the block's here. I'd gone into the block at a bit of an angle like this. So it had gone most of the way into the threads, got to the bottom part of the thread, and literally ripped a chunk of the block off, straight out. So that was the mating surface for the pipe. So it's supposed to be flat like that. And then the banjo and pipe sit like that. Anyway, I'd ripped the face of the block off on her. So me rushing, me trying to get that job done faster in an easier way, resulted in the engine block needed replacing. Now, there's not many times you can go to your service manager and say, I've just written off an engine. Whoops, my bad, kind of thing, because it doesn't normally work. So, yeah, that for me is probably my worst mistake I've ever made, and I have massively learned from that, and I've never done it since, and I will always take the subframe off and the transfer box out of the way. So that's me shit one. And Lexi says, I learn new car things every day from you. So I do teach my daughters, whether they listen at the time or not. And my wife's got a bit more car knowledge than she likes to let on. She knows what a spark plug is. It's good. That's good. So yeah, I like to teach my kids and my wife particularly. So I know they'll be able to get themselves out of trouble when they're a bit older and got their own cars and stuff like that. So that's good. That's what I want. Darren, 1.3 Fiat. So again, mate, these little multi-jet engines are a nightmare. Either your turbo's got some play in the impeller, and the tap in your hearing is the turbo impeller itself hitting the casing of the turbo, or you've got oil starvation. The easiest one out of the two to have a look at is take the air pipe off to the turbo, give it a little wiggle with your fingers. If you can get into that turbo and just see what sort of play you've got in there, and if it is tapping on the housing, maybe there's too much play in the turbo. So go with that one. That's an easy check. Air pipe off, give the turbo a little fiddle, and go from there. But I'm here all the time anyway, mate. You just need to fire me a message if you get stuck. Andy, changing front disc and pads on his Mark 5 Fiesta carrier bolts so corroded. They didn't have 6 sides after a brush. Went to a bolt and top slider pin, stripped the thread in the carrier. Oh, yes. Love a good helicoil. For anyone that doesn't deal with brakes or anything out there, the slider pins sit in the brake carrier like that. So you've got the threaded bit here. And they're open end. So if they get a bit of rust on them that you can't see, you get to pull that slider pin out and it drags the rust with it. So easy to strip them threads out of that carrier. And if you've got a carrier separately, it's an expensive job. If the carrier is part of the hub, you've got an even more expensive job. Unless you're good with a set of helicoils. Now, helicoils is basically a thread repair kit. You drill out the old thread, put a helicoil insert in, and hopefully that does the trick. But yeah, I've stripped a few hubs in my time, and they are hubs as well, full hubs, not carriers. Absolute shocker, mate. So I'm with you on that one, buddy. I'm definitely with you on that. Chris, a few months ago, had a Focus ST in for rear control arms. Bolt was seized in the bush. Got too happy with the oxy and cut a massive hole in the rear subframe. Had to go re-weld it. Back together. Felt pretty bad. That's up there, mate. That is up there. Blowing a hole in someone's subframe. I'm all for that, mate. Fair play to you, buddy. But you've repaired it. Hopefully to a standard that's all right for MOT, and you've not taken the structural integrity of the subframe out. But yeah, I've not done anything like that before. That's up there. I have to write that on my wall of achievements. Chris Neal blew a hole in a subframe. Like it. At least you sorted it though, buddy, and you've got a happy customer. That is the aim of the game. So well done for getting yourself out of the shit, mate. That is 90% of a techie's job. Breaking something and then going, that's expensive. Or I know how to get myself out of that. So Steve, yours is DSG. So my point exactly with the start-stop. If you've got a DSG start-stop, it's horrendous. They just start up in gear. They don't know what they're doing. They fart about. They stutter. That's just not worth it, man. I totally agree. Totally agree. Darren, it only lasts about 3 or 4 minutes. I'm just wondering, have you done an oil change on it recently? Is this the Fiat you're on about with the 500 you've got? The extra large 500. Worst thing Darren's done is take a windscreen out of the wrong car when he worked as a windscreen tech. Quality. How do you explain that? Oh, I like that. That's chuffed. That's ace. Oh, you got me giggling there. I did work with a techie once. I'll not name his name because he might be here. But he did something similar, but it wasn't as simple as a windscreen. He took the gearbox and clutch out of one car to replace it. Looked at the clutch and thought, that don't actually need replacing. Looked at the job card and the chassis number on the job card and went, shit, I want that car that's outside that does need the clutch replacing. So he had the clutch and flywheel off the wrong car. This car was in for just an oil change or something like that. And the car was meant to take the clutch and flywheel off. Yeah, just sat outside. So I'm still to this day don't know how he managed to get himself out of that one. But either way, I think he ended up doing 2 clutches. So one customer's a very happy customer. Paid for an oil change and got a new clutch and flywheel. So it happens. Hey up, Imogen, you all right, Doc? You okay? Imogen's my niece. for anyone in the room that's not sure. So yeah, a couple of family members in here, which is ace, supporting me. Some absolute legends that have come over from the Skoda owner site, the Skoda owner GB Lancashire section site. It's great to see you all here. This is like a little hub if you like, for everyone car related. I mean, I can divulge from Skoda a little touch now, but Volkswagen Audi Group is my main thing. Andy stripped the thread in the carrier by being a moron in a rush on my drive. Mixed up in my head the torque setting for the slider pins and the carrier. Whoa! So to make that easy to understand, the carrier bolts are tight, like really, really tight, and the slider pins are not that tight. To get them mixed up, you can see why he stripped the threads. So that is impressive, mate. I'll give you that. You got out there, you sorted it in the end. That's the aim of the game. Darren, you changed it 5,000 miles ago. Yeah, it's weird on that. See if you can get the noise on video, and I'll have a listen. I might be able to help you a little bit more once I've heard the noise. The customer had 2 Jags. They said the keys on the table. Looked at the Jag 4x4 windscreen. Thought it looks okay. Maybe I was in there for a leaking screen and took it out. Prepped the new screen. Didn't fit. I'd got wrong keys for the Jag XE with a smile. Wow. So you removed a perfectly good windscreen, which to be fair, a lot of windscreens, if they're leaking, you won't be able to see out. So I get where you're coming from with that, but to be next to the car with a smashed windscreen, replacing one that didn't look like it was bust, is fairly out there. I'm impressed with that. So well done, mate. Oh, well done. I like this. Make me chuckle a little bit. Hey up, Lee. You alright, buddy? Nice to see you here, matey. Hope you're feeling a bit better now. It's safe to say, guys, that whatever job you do, you're gonna fuck up. At some point, mistakes are gonna happen, and you can laugh about them now, like we are doing. Everyone's had a bit of banter, a bit of oh dear, I've bust something, it's cost loads of money. It's going to happen to us all. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It does not matter what you're doing. It's going to happen to us all. The pressures of management, the pressures of the job, sometimes just being really tired. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, guys. So we'll just live, we'll laugh, we'll learn. We'll not do it again, but we'll probably do something just as bad and cost some more money. It's just the way the world works. Just the way the world works. Imogen, what's the most annoying customer? I can't really speak about customers, sweetheart. I can give you a generic. It's the customers that say the car will pass its MOT. It'll be fine. Now, I'm an MOT tester, if you're not guessed. And when someone says to me, it will be fine, it normally means everything's broken. And they've never topped the screen wash up. The oil level's below minimum. The brake fluid's black. No coolant. Key fob warning lights on. And there's probably no handbrake. And that's just things I've seen. Yeah, so people saying it will be all right and pass. It won't. That is red flags. Red flags. I've got this little theory. That I do. If I can get into a car and the screen wash light is on, or you go to use a screen wash and there's nothing there will be something wrong with that car to either make it fail an MOT or not be safe to drive on the road. If I get in a car and there's no warning lights for any bulbs being out on the dash, the screen wash has got screen wash in, and the levels are generally all right under the bonnet, I know that car's been looked after. And it's worked so far that very rarely do I see that if it's all levels are all right under the bonnet, that I'll very rarely see a bald tyre, knackered brakes, or any broken springs. And if I do, it's very, very rare. But on the other hand, if there's no screen wash in the car, I know I'm going to find no oil, brake fluid low, coolant low, brakes are knackered, tyres are knackered, probably a bus spring or two, and maybe the windscreen's got a massive crack on it as well. So you can tell from a mile off what you're about to deal with before you've even got it in the air looking at it. Andy, not sorted it yet. Seems M9 by 1.25 mil for this bloody thing, and all I have is M8. Oh, you got standard screw set. Yeah, Volkswagen threads aren't the same, mate. No, they're not as fine as Fiat, but they're not conventional screw size. Cup of the day. Where are we? Can you see? There it is. Superhero Dad. By my kids that are in the room. Mr. Barrington, his big screw up. He used to be a plumber. His big screw up. He's cutting the wrong pipe in hospital, which happened to be pressurised hot water. Ended up flooding half a ward on third floor. 4 hours to stop the water just to repair it. Now that, mate, is up there. That has trumped mine. Probably trumped all the ones I've heard tonight. You've written off most of the floor in a ward. It's taken 4 hours to repair a water leak. Mate, that is up there. I'm proud of that. How did you explain that one, buddy? I look forward to your next comment. Chris, Neil, Andy. I'll make that sound English. I was reading at the same time. Andy, Chris has put something in the comments about Sealy sell the helicoil kits M9 by 1.25, about 25 quid online. Have a look at that guy. You might be able to fathom something like that. What's the funniest situation you've ever been in? Funniest situation I've been in. It's really hard to say because there's people under the age of 18 in here. So the funniest situation normally involves adult toys being in the boot. I'm not going to go any further than that, sweetheart, because I'll tell you when you're older. Darren, I think some tiredness of being overcomplacent takes over and mistakes happen. Yeah, 100%, mate. 100%. Overcomplacency is massive, particularly if you're working on the same cars, doing the same jobs day in, day out. Complacency is huge, and that is where it does go wrong, and you still forget things. So yeah, we are all human. Mistakes do happen. Shit does break, and it gets fixed in the end. Might cost a couple of quid extra. Might get a slap on the wrist. As long as you're not intentionally doing things to either piss the customer off, piss your company off, out like that. If it's a genuine mistake, I totally understand. If you're being a div, over-tightening stuff, sticking your Milwaukee gun on a little stupid bolt, that kind of thing, you ask for it. You really, really do ask for it. So if it's not your fault, ace. If it is your fault, probably assess the situation. Now, if Mark's in the room or work with, he's always telling me to assess the situation because I've got a Milwaukee gun, a Milwaukee M18 fuel brushless thing. Anyway, half-inch. And you know when you get a new tool, you think, oh, I'm going to do everything with this. Anyway, I didn't assess the situation, and he laughs at me every time for this. I was undoing a ball joint on a Scirocco. 3 bolts on a Volkswagen, if you're not sure. There's 3 bolts underneath. Get me a Milwaukee gun. Chuck a nice little 16mm impact socket on there, and I forgot to turn the power setting down on the Milwaukee gun. Now, that's rated to just under 3,000 Newton meters of torque. Nut busting torque. I had it on the highest power setting. Went to undo these 16 mils, and I didn't just stop at breaking the first one. I broke the first one and thought, I fucked it now anyway. I'm going to have to sort this out. So anyway, I broke the second. Then I broke the third, and then I realised I had it on too much, the highest power setting you can have it on. That was tiredness, and that was me having a new toy thinking I can undo everything with this. And I did. I undid it. Probably not the way where I could reuse the part again. So I love it. I love it. Andy's got a set on the way from Amazon, which should be fairly swift. But cool. So that's you sorted, mate. Hopefully. Keep us updated. Let's have some of these pictures of cock-ups on the motor trade. I can certainly put a few of them in the in posts and bits and bobs like that. So let us have it. We could probably get a thread going. If I do a video of failures, there's on the channel on my playlist, there is a fail thing, I'll maybe start uploading some stuff into there of genuine fuck ups, whether it's by me or it's came in like that. Have a look at that playlist because it's got fails in there now, and I'm going to start uploading some on there because I see quite a few. I just don't bother uploading them. So yeah, I'm going to start doing that. If you guys want to see it. The most annoying customers for me are the ones who say, since you've done this, this does not work. One bloke said years back, since you changed my brake pads, my seat won't adjust. Every day, Darren. Every day, man. Since you've MOT'd my car, my rear wiper blades have worn out. I've had one before, this was a few years ago. Since I MOT'd his car, his broadband at home stopped working, his wife had left him, and his dog had died. Since I'd worked on his car. So, yeah, we hear it all the time. We hear it all the time. If you don't laugh, honestly, you'll just sit in the corner rocking backwards and forwards, crying to yourself. Because some of what customers say for this are outrageous, really, really outrageous. Imogen, is there going to be any more videos before Christmas? Because I would like to know when to say Merry Christmas. Oh, do you know what? If we can, at some point, we'll try. We'll get you and Lee, Lexi and Lacey, and if it's all right with your mum, my sister, for anyone out there, we'll get you to say Merry Christmas on the video. Yeah, because Lex and Lace will, Jack will. So if you want to do that, let me know. I'll sort it out with your mum, and you can jump in on a video quickly and say Merry Christmas to all the subscribers out there, all you guys. And I'm sure they'll love that. So if you want to sort that out, sweetheart, let me know, and we'll get that done. Mike, I blame my mentor telling me to cut the pipe and didn't supervise me at the time. Yeah, it's a bit much, isn't it? So for your mentor not supervising you cutting a pipe he's told you to cut, you flooded a hospital ward. You win, mate. You absolutely win on that one, buddy. You absolutely. Andy, been busy for a while. Saw a post leaving the VW dealership. Where are you at now? I'll talk to you outside of this chat, buddy. I'll talk to you outside of this chat. We're long due a catch up anyway, mate. So I'll talk to you outside of the chat. Barrington, lots of aquavacs on the go trying to battle the flood. I bet 4 hours to stop just a leak, man. That must have been carnage. The only people that do more exciting endings than that is Coronation Street and EastEnders when there's either a train crash or an hospital flood. So yeah, you're up there, buddy. You're up there. Have you ever done something that you were meant to on a different car and then said you did it on the car and actually no, sweetheart? No, if I say I've done something, darling, then I've done it. Whether I've done that job twice because I've done it on the wrong car and then had to do it on the right car, that's different. But I've always done what I said I've done. I'll not do out daft like that. So yeah. Darren, that's my biggest gripe. Garages who wang every wheel bolt in full whack. Now, what I do with wheel bolts, I'll tell you my little process. I will have the Milwaukee. I don't use air guns anymore. I'll have the Milwaukee, and I will put a wheel nut in on number one. And I don't sit there dagger, none of that rubbish. I nip it, and then everything gets torqued with a torque bar to the manufacturer's specification. And if I come to use a torque wrench on that wheel nut, and that torque wrench doesn't move the nut and then click, I take the nut back out a few turns and then make sure it clicks with the torque wrench. I've never over tightened the wheel nut. I've never done something stupid like that. Even if the person's annoyed me or said something daft, I've never over tightened anything because at the end of the day, they're going to have to try and take that wheel off at the side of the road, probably in the rain, probably in a less than ideal scenario. It's not cool. It's not cool. So yeah, garages that are just wanging bolts in and not actually checking how tight they are, it should be. You just should be. Just should be. There's no excuse for not doing the right thing, particularly when it's people's lives. Wheels are the worst, man. Surely you'd want to know as a techie yourself that that's torqued up to spec. I do. 100%. I can honestly say, hand on heart, that every bolt I need to torque up, I torque up. I ain't got any issues. I won't lose any sleep. I know some plugs are torqued up, wheels are torqued up, brakes are torqued up, anything like that is torqued up. I can go home, sleep easy at night, knowing full well that the engine's not going to fall out, the wheels aren't going to fall off, the brakes aren't going to stop working. That's all I need as a techie. That is all I need. What's the torque setting for bolts on the Octavia? It depends. Steel wheels or alloy wheels. Steel or alloy, buddy. I presume if it's your I think you got a Mark III Octavia, haven't you? It's I torque all alloy wheels up to 120 Newton meters. Is a Volkswagen alloy, unless it's an up or a Citigo or a Me. They're 110 and steel. Or if it's anything like a Touareg or a Range Rover or anything like that, it's 140. 140. Imogen, I'm going to go now. I'll be watching TV. All right, mate. Have a good night. I'll speak to you again soon. Andy, I remember a Rover 45 first service with the posh headlight washers that sat out from the bumper. My fellow apprentice hit it with his knee, snapped it off. The next thing, service manager out with the super glue. I don't even know what to say to that. If you're going to fuck a car, at least fix it. Super gluing stuff to customers' cars, no. A good company will always, or a good techie, should I say, a good techie will always go, I've just broke that. Oops. Didn't do it intentionally. Let's sort it out right. None of this sticking screws in air boxes, super gluing headlight washers on and stuff like that. No. It gets done right, which should be done at all. Simple as. People's lives. I'm going to keep reiterating that. People's lives, man. Nah, it's scary. Scary. Some of the stuff that I see as well, that they've either worked on it themselves or Fred in the shed's done it, and wow. Just don't. If you don't know, I understand people having a go and people watching a video on YouTube and having a go. But guys out there, know your limits. Please know your limits. If you're going to take apart brakes, make sure you can take apart brakes. If you're following a step-by-step guide of someone on YouTube, then it's not enough for me, I'm afraid. You need to know that you're doing the job right. And should it go wrong, you can sort it out yourself rather than just bodge it, think it's working and all that, and then lose your brake pedal down the road. So I get watching detailing videos to a point, because although you can get washing a car wrong, you're not going to cost someone a life washing a car wrong, rather than not doing brakes up or not doing a wheel up. You know what I mean? You get what I mean. Barrington, that is why I keep to breaker bar instead of impact sockets in the boot. Always happy to pull over and help if I've got time. Now, I've got massive respect to anyone that will pull over and help someone. On the other token, be very careful who you're pulling over to or where you're pulling over. Maybe make sure it's well lit. At least some of it could be staged. Maybe I watch too many police dramas. You don't know, do you? But be safe with it. For God's sake, the last thing I want to know or hear about is someone's been hurt because they pulled over to help someone and it was set up. Do you know what I mean? It's rare, but it has happened. Darren had that on the Rover after a clutch change. Snapped 3, one wheel trying to change the wheel on both sides of the road. Had to drive 30 miles with 2 bolts holding the wheel on. Drove 20 miles on all the way, and I bet your arse was twitching like a rabbit's nose. It's terrifying, isn't it? It's terrifying. But yeah, to get yourself out of the situation is probably more powerful than actually just doing the job. Yeah. Multi-franchise main dealers. They're painful, aren't they? Multi-franchise main dealers. It's just, I get that you're all right at your job, but how? It's just multi-franchise. It's just a mess, isn't it? At that dealer's first £1,000 of damage with excess was covered by the technician who caused. Basically, 99% of cases you break it, you pay. That's disgusting. That is disgusting. Now, I totally understand if you've broken it on purpose, maliciously, you pay for it. If it's an accident, No way. That's like being penalised for doing your own job, because you've got to undo bolts to do your job. Now, if you're terrified of undoing bolts, you ain't going to really do your job very well. So, no, I don't get that. That's bad. That's wrong. That's wrong. Steve, that's why I'd rather pay that bit extra for someone such as yourself. I appreciate that massively, mate. That does mean a lot. I know dealership prices aren't the cheapest. I know that. And I agree. They're not. But put it a different way. If you're looking at a dealership and say they're charging £100 an hour, you're not just paying for your car to go on a ramp, have shit parts thrown at it, and chucked out the door. You've got to break it down into what you're actually getting. So you're getting all the recall checks to start with. You're getting the see it now, so the video sent by the technician. You're getting a VHC, so you get an electronic VHC that's gone a list of all the stuff on your car, and green, red or amber, depending on what it is. You're getting all that. You're getting the technician that's had manufacturer's training. You're getting the ramps, the insurance, electricity, gas, heating. You're also getting a wash. The car's getting a wash after. You're getting that main dealer touch, knowing that all your recalls are done. The parts we're using are genuine parts. You get your 2-year unlimited mileage on Volkswagen on your parts. So you're getting the comfort of knowing if something does go wrong, it's going to get sorted. That's it. No cost to you, Sen. It's going to get sorted. If it's with warranty, something's broke, it's going to get sorted. If you go to Fred in a shed, you're probably getting some aftermarket part that you don't really know what's gone. You don't know where it's come from. It might be guaranteed, it might not. If something does go wrong, you've then got to try and explain why it's gone wrong. You've not broke it, this, that, and the other. It gets messy. With a dealership, you can have your car towed back or taken back. That's wrong. They'll sort it. Simple as. Yeah, it does cost a bit more, but cheap is not always better. It's not always better. I'd rather pay once and know it's done right rather than buy cheap and buy twice. So that's my motto. It seems to work. And again, Steve, the knowledge is unreal. The knowledge is unreal. We go on so many training courses, do so many training courses online. We do tests, exams, everything. We are done to dealership standard. We're done to brand standard. So we have to pass exams. We have to pass demonstrations. So it's not a case of just sitting there passing an exam. For Volkswagen and Skoda, I had to do a physical assessment. So they give me a fault on a car. They watch my process. They watched me fix it. They watched this. They watched every bit of it. So it's not like I've answered a tick box exercise and gone, yeah, I'm qualified, I can do this. They're having to see us do it. So that's the difference for me. Chris, apprentice got told to look at Ford Cougar noise driving, pulled it in, pushed piston back, thought it was, got told to pump pedal, forgot it crashed it. Ah, shit. Yeah, that one. Yeah, we've all fell victim to that. Any technician here cannot say they've genuinely backed a car off a ramp and gone to press the brake pedal and it not been there. Because I have. 100% I have. I've forgotten to do the brake pedal, gotten most of the way out of the garage and gone, shit, where's my pedal? And you are pumping that pedal so hard, hoping and praying that is what it is. So, yeah, totally understand that one. Darren, detailing, although it can easily go wrong, most things can be rectified, although you can do some serious damage, 100%. If you've got some car with diamond cut alloy wheels, fresh paint, anything like that, or if it's a one of a type paint or wraps, anything like that, it can so easily go wrong, and it can still be just as expensive as something mechanical going wrong. So absolutely 100%, that it can go wrong. And the best one, the Defender on a 2-post. Post on one side failed and dropped at lunchtime and impaled the side of it midair when it hit safety stop. Thank God for the safety stops and you want underneath it. Them safety stops, although they're noisy and they do make a lot of noise, they've saved so many lives. So yeah, thank God. Literally, thank God. Darren, if you go to a dealer, you know what, that £100 an hour, you know they've worked that hour. Backstreet, you're paying 60 to 80 quid and an hour for them to sit and have a coffee and a chat. Yeah, 100%. It's rare I get a chat with someone next to me, a brewing, out like that. It's rare because you're so focused on the job. You get the job done. next one in, get the job done, next one in. By that time, 5 o'clock's happened, and you're going home. So yeah, I totally understand. Lacey, it's my bedtime. It is, sweetheart. On that note, guys, it's been an hour and 5 minutes, and it has been a fantastic hour and 5 minutes. So I appreciate every single one of you for coming along tonight, talking to me, listening to me, giving me feedback, giving me questions. It's been fantastic. Like I said, this is every Sunday night, 7 p.m. UK time. You'll see me here waffling at you. So save your questions up for there, unless it's really, really important that you need it answering midweek. Save them up for there. But for that, guys, have a good evening, have a good week, and I'll see you here again next Sunday. Take care. See you later.